Hey guys, let's bake a pineapple upside down cake together. It was my husband's birthday last week and I offered to bake cake for him. We were watching the last season of Queer Eye and two sisters were baking a pineapple upside down cake in one of the episodes and it was an easy decision for him. I started with 60 grams of melted salted butter that I poured into the pan and brushed it all over the walls and the weird cylindrical part. I followed up with 100 grams of brown sugar that I basically poured into the pan and hoped it sticks to the side. It's supposed to give a caramelized syrup situation in the oven. I also tried to put some of the brown sugar on the pineapple slices, but I've patted them with the paper towel before so the sugar wasn't sticking properly, and I decided to get a bit messy and push the sugar into the pineapple with my fingers. I roughly followed this recipe but changed a few things on the go. I didn't have the maraschino cherries, so I decided to skip that. I took back the cake pan and started arranging the pineapple slices on the sides of the pan. I quickly realized, however, I don't have enough slices to fill it to the top, so I decided to cut the last two slices in half and try to make a new pattern. Remember, when cooking or baking, don't let the situation bring you down. Trust your instincts and skills and just have fun. Onto the batter, I started with 150 grams of room temperature butter that I mixed 150 grams of sugar in. Once they got creamy, I put 2 room temperature eggs, one at a time, and mixed well. On to the dry ingredients. I added 195 grams of flour and I put 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and some salt. In this household, I measure most of the times as I enjoy being free and creative when baking. Back to the wet ingredients. I poured some vanilla extract and a pack of bourbon vanilla sugar and I am starting to mix with a spatula this time to avoid overmixing. I don't know if this is true, but if any recipe mentions it, I become very conscious to respect this because we want big fluffy cakes. I am also alternating folding in 195 grams of flour and around a cup of milk mixed with pineapple juice. This is where I felt like a mad scientist because I thought the pineapple juice will give the cake a yummy fruity taste, so I was excited. At points it didn't look very good, but trust the process. In total, I added around 50 milliliters of pineapple juice and 70 milliliters of milk. Pouring it in the pan, I was a bit sad that it didn't fill it to the top, but I decided to keep positive and trust the process. I know I have the good ingredients to make the cake rise. My oven was on 175 degrees Celsius and I baked it for 30 minutes uncovered and 50 minutes covered with aluminum foil. It is ready to get out of the oven and get out of the pan. How I know it's ready to get out of the pan? Easy, the toothpick test. I just stick a toothpick in the cake and if the toothpick comes out with crumbs that are dry, it's supposed to be ready. And in case you've been wondering, you're not supposed to use a bundt cake pan, but a cast iron skillet. I didn't have one on hand, so I improvised. The bundt cake pan reminded me of my big fat Greek wedding, and I definitely need to rewatch the movie and see the scene where they discuss the bundt cake. I was also really happy to see the cake rise, and here are some photos as well. I wish there was more caramel syrup on top, dripping to the sides, but instead it was already soaking the cake, which was as delicious.